Hello folks. I promise I am in wet, grim, rains all the time Scotland. It is, honestly, even though every visual you have in front of me would suggest to the latter. Terrible weather. This is a video I've been wanting to do for a couple of years. I first found this place 2 years ago. Well, I didn't. Prehistoric man found this island way before I did, but I became aware of it 2 years ago. And I'm thinking to myself, I need to do a little video there for the last 12 months. But then it also occurs to me, how do you talk about a little patch of earth in the middle of the Firth of Forth and make a video long content when it's the size of, you know, probably a millionaire's garage? And it turns out, if you do your research and your homework, quite a lot. What a stunning spot. It's almost otherworldly. You could imagine this on the set of June or something, couldn't you? Plane, that's no good for audio. Off the rip, straight up, this place is called Cramond Island, and it's near Cramond village as you'd expect. There's a free car park there to come down to. To access the island, there's a causeway that you have to walk down. It's about a mile long, so you know you got to plan your route. The problem with this is it's what's called a tidal island, which, as the name would suggest, when the high tide comes in, this place is cut off. Imagine it like Holy Island in Northumberland, except there you drive across the causeway, here you got to walk it. So if you're the kind of person that's bad with punctuality, bring a jigsaw, a sleeping bag and a tub of peanut butter, because you'll be on there for another 11 hours waiting for this tide to drop. Let's go explore the island. These oddly shaped structures are called pylons. Nothing to do with electricity, but they are spelt the same. Another plane coming in. And there was a very specific purpose for these structures you can see behind us, these pylons. We'll go into that when we're on the island. Point to note, if you do come down here, even when it's dry, it's slippery as all out, this causeway, with a little bit of algae and water on it. There is a very specific reason for me coming back today. Not just to make a video and share this cool spot with you folks, but I understand on the northwest point of this island, after doing a bit of digging and research, there's a medieval built stone jetty, and it's visible at low tide. Low enough. And I'd like to go and photograph it. Brought me filters, brought the OM1 Mark II. Got to be careful with the drones, because Edinburgh Airport is just over there. Now, anywhere you launch on the mainland, there back to the car park is pretty much within 5 kilometres of an airport. That's a no-no. However, once you're on the island, according to the Drone Assist app, it's more clear. So we'll see what the wind's doing, because you know what it's like with these tiny drones. You throw them up in the wind, it's like have an expensive day out. But yeah, we'll get on the island, we'll have a look round. I'm really curious to see the north and northwest sides. I've never been that far out on it, but today's the day. Come with, folks. Still on our way over the causeway. It's beautiful. I'm in a good mood. Nothing's going to spoil it. Even if school rings me and tell me that Hellion number 2 has decided to take the afternoon off unauthorised. He's as daft as a bag of clown farts, that lad. That's a nice positive start too. The last time I come, the side of that bunker there was all scrawled with obscenities. Someone's painted over it, which is cool. We'll come back to them bunkers in a bit. This is an interesting little tidbit from such a small piece of earth. Here, back in the day, is where Adam Brunfield and James Carmichael fought to death in a duel, because Brunfield accused Carmichael of killing his brother in treasonous circumstances. The duel was fought down here. Brunfield killed Carmichael. Apparently the Duke of Lennox came to the island to be the judge. I don't know how you can fight unfairly in a fight to the death, but there you go. think if I won the Euro Millions, I'd try and buy this spot. I'm not a greedy man. I'd build a little house. I'd look after the whole island. My kind of jam, that. Although the island, for most of its life, had been farmed, in the 1790s, the British Wool Society, which is a thing apparently, they used this for breeding the sheep and raising them here for their wool. And this was done up until, I think they said the last shepherd was a chap called Peter Hogg. And Peter passed away in 1904. But I tell you what, it's not a bad place to spend your life. As you can imagine, being a little tidal island at high tide, very successful fishing outpost. It apparently was surrounded by flourishing oyster beds as well. But unfortunately they were overfished and they've gone now, they've been destroyed. Look at this spot. And I believe that to be our medieval jetty. Let's go and have a look. I believe that is what, if you dig into the history, is referred to as, and I quote, a precariously poised building. And according to what I've read, that was where they housed the ammunition and the kind of energy centres, the pumps and generators for the lads in the military who were operating here. I'll go and have a look at that on the way back. I touched on it earlier. Apparently this has been inhabited or used since prehistoric man. There's no way I could prove or validate that. But speaking of proof and validation, what has been noted was they said in World War I times, the lads who were stationed here and working here, they went out and they found what's called cyst graves. And that was how the people from the ancient times apparently buried the dead. And there was also a note of what's called long graves, which is how the early Christians used to bury the dead as well. And they've been found on the island as well. Plenty of history. Oh, wait, look at that. Look at that. If that's not worth a wet shoe for a picture, I don't know what is. Let's get one of them. I'd like to just draw your attention back to, if that's not worth a wet shoe, apparently it's worth two. Nice day. And this is what's left of your medieval jetty. Built out of medieval stone, with a cool little cart ahead of it. That's the documented precariously positioned ammunition building. Awesome. Anarchy will set you free. Unless you meet another anarchist who's bigger and stronger than you, who decides you're going to do something different you don't want to do. There's that. God, the weather's disgusting. Here's another couple of cool spots for you. This over there in the distance, that's called Inchmickery. And that's called Inchlock over there. And between these three, they used to deploy what's called a submarine net to try and catch the submarines. And the idea being was that anchor it between here, Inchmickery and Inchlock, kind of 3 points of anchor, which if you look, effectively cuts off the inlet for the strait, which will then keep your submarines and your torpedo boats away from the battleships that will be resting over there by the Forth Bridge, anchored up. You can see some tankers in there now. Is it just me, or when I hear submarine net, which I've got to admit was a new term for me, do I get images of little guys in World War I with massively oversized butterfly nets waving around the water? No, just me. Standard. I've got to admit, I keep looking at my watch, I'm getting like angry wife panicking about the time. But that said, it's different here, isn't it? You don't get a sticker on your car, you have to spend 11 hours on the island, and I've got another job booked this afternoon, so better not get stranded. I'm going to get a picture of that, and I'm going to go around the gun turrets. I can think of worse places to spend an afternoon. I think it's time for dinner. Just need to get into character. Wilson! Wilson! I appreciate it was a boy, not a ball, but you do what you can with what you got, don't you? Apologies for any bad language on the graffiti, folks, obviously can't be helped. It's a very sobering thought, isn't it, if this was your job in World War I and World War II way back when, that every day you were in there and your sole purpose was to keep an eye out and fire upon any threat that was coming from over there. What a brave young men and women. I think this is one of the cleanest bunkers I've ever been in. It looks like it's actually been swept out. So much history. Yeah, the brainless have been up here, obviously. You can still see the mounts for the shutters on the window, decaying because of their age in the sea air, but still there. Turn all golf courses into public sex forests. Where would you go to knock your balls around then? Since I caught myself putting on a few too many extra tons, I think I said in a previous video, I put myself on a diet. I've been having Huel every day for dinner and water and fruit and salad for my tea. And I know what you're thinking. It's been worthwhile, that diet, Tim. All that healthy crap speech aside, I have run the numbers, and apparently I am allowed an Indian takeaway tonight because I've been really good all week. Grapes and salad. We don't talk about the cake though. That cake in Leith is like Fight Club. You don't talk about the cake in Leith. Now I believe this is where one of the searchlights was mounted. In World War I and World War II, the story was kind of the same for these structures. They had guns put in them. Obviously in World War II, they fortified them with stronger guns, bigger guns. As military technology advanced, you know, you had to counter what your enemy had with more of your own. But I know the first building over yonder, we'll go to in a minute, that was mounted with a 75mm gun and a searchlight. And obviously the submarines would try and come in, hence the submarine nets. And their aim would be to scupper the boats that are anchored up, getting rearmed and resupplied and repaired, and damage the port head. However, major problem out this way was torpedo boats. Little fast-moving boats that try and come in unseen, drop the torpedoes and do the damage, which wouldn't be held up by the nets, if you will. So they had machine guns put in here as well to kind of respond to the quick nature of what they were trying to deal with. Getting some hellish lens flare off that 7-14 then. Might look quite cool, a bit different. Thinking aloud on them submarine nets. Anchored between here, Inchmickery and Inchlock. You would think of the strength that's going to have to be involved to catch a submarine vehicle that's coming in loaded full of people with boosters on it and turbines. Some strength, some power, some feat of engineering that. We're in the first bunker you come to as you cross the causeway. And there's a couple of facts I can share with this one. First one, it stinks of urine. Second one, this is where they housed 75mm guns for Overwatch here. And the idea was to take out these torpedo boats we talked about. People do seem to think that these pylons here were for anti-submarine, but they're not. When you come here in high tide, which I have done, it's not actually deep enough to get a submarine in here. So these pylons here were just for tackling those high-speed torpedo boats. Sorry, I do recall as well from the analytics, we have some American viewers as well now, which is called 75mm guns, 3-inch, so substantial artillery. So there you have it, folks. Cramond Island. I say it every time, I'll say it again. Well worth a visit. Definitely better outdoors. Look at this. But if you're up this way, it's worth coming over, folks. It'll cost you a 20-minute walk across the causeway. It's free to park. And you can walk around this stunning little island. Time is pressing on. I think the tide's going to be coming in about half an hour or so, and he's been making a move. Thanks ever so much for coming along. Hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks, folks.